I need to share something that happened to me recently, and I'm completely lost. Well, I recently moved to the house where I am, a spacious place with a large backyard. I live in South America, and around here vegetation grows a lot and very fast, so I need to weed the yard weekly if I want to be able to step on the ground. The thing is, this new house has been unoccupied for quite some time, so you can imagine the scene. I called a friend to help me clear the land, and after 5 exhausting hours, we managed to make the place more welcoming. We were heading inside for a well-deserved lemonade when he tripped and fell. I approached to see how he was, and he turned, looking at what had caused his fall. It was a small, rounded piece of metal, I suppose aluminum, sticking out of the ground, with most of it buried. I began to dig to see what might be there. I've seen countless news stories of people finding relics, gold coins, and all sorts of things in their yards, making a decent amount of money. What I found, though, was a chromed tube. It had engraved writing in relief on the metal saying, "Photograph time capsule. Only open if adding a photo." It may not be a valuable item, but it seemed interesting enough to make me keep it. We went inside, and while refreshing ourselves with juice, we started talking about the capsule. My friend, who I'll call Franco, is a photography enthusiast and has a Polaroid. You know, those more aesthetic things. He suggested taking a photo to add to the capsule and bury it again somewhere else. It would be an unusual and different artistic project that he would like to participate in. I agreed, and while he went to his house to get the camera, I decided to take a peek. The photographs were really old, probably from the 19th century. The first one showed a gentleman with a thick mustache, top hat, and cane posing in profile. In the background, mountains and the sun. It was quite worn, and a layer of blackened mold covered the side of the figure. The other one was of a group of academics, young men in their overcoats, posing next to the train with spontaneous smiles, carrying bags hanging at their sides. It was also very old, perhaps from the transition from the 1800s to the 1900s, and still had a layer of mold. I hope Franco knows how to clean photos. It seems like we have an infestation here. However, something bothered me this time. The stains seemed more defined, not like mold spreading. It occupied the space in the photo between the young men. If they were more distant, I might consider it to be one of them. I moved on to the next one, a guy in a white tank top, military-style haircut, a dog tag around his neck. It was at this point I was sure something was wrong. The mold stain this time was bending over the guy, stopping at his face and falling over his shoulder on the other side, as if passing its arm over him. It just couldn't be natural. The lines that marked it were too defined, too specific. I started feeling uncomfortable with this, like I was being watched. A knock at the door made me jump in fright. Franco's voice came from outside. I rushed to open it, and as I saw him with the camera in hand, I was momentarily blinded by the flash. "This one will be great, very spontaneous," he exclaimed. I quickly called him inside and began to explain the situation. At first glance, he seemed skeptical. He said they were just stains and went on a monologue explaining what pareidolia is and how we seek patterns and shapes where there are none. But when we moved on to the next one, a more recent one from the 1970s, everything changed. A girl posed with her arms up, joyful. The lighting came from a bulb on the ceiling, primarily illuminating her, while in the background, something lurked. The mold stain now definitely was something. It seemed almost human, but in a way I can't explain. It made our heads ache at the time, and now, when I try to think about it, it starts to hurt again. "Yeah, I think you believe me now, huh?" I asked. "Okay, there's something weird with this. Look, let's stick to the initial plan and bury this thing." He looked again at the photo, preferably far away from here. I agreed. "So, do we have a shovel?" he questioned. "I did have one, but it broke last month, and I haven't had time to buy a new one." "Well," Franco continued, "I still have my gardening tools. They're not exactly professional, but they'll do the trick. If you want, I can go get them," and I interrupted him. "No way I'm staying here alone." He pondered for a moment. "Okay, but we can't just leave this thing here alone. Who knows what might happen?" "Well, then let's take it with us," I suggested. "Honestly, I don't know. It's better to leave it here for now, and after we get everything, we take it back and never bring it back again." "So give me the key to your house, and you stay here." "I won't. The house is mine." "Aha! I knew you were scared too. Okay, let's do this. Rock, paper, scissors. He said this already getting into position. I expertly prepared myself, trying to predict his movements and intentions, filled my hand and confidently threw scissors. To my misfortune and surprise, Franco lowered his fist unchanged and closed. See, it's the same. I'll be right back, okay? Just start packing the photo so we can get rid of this as quickly as possible. Oh, we'll get rid of this as quickly as possible. I mimicked his voice in a clumsy way as he closed the door. I began to pack those photos into the capsule again, trying not to look too much when I suddenly noticed a photo I hadn't seen before. And then my heart froze. The image showed my face, a withdrawn expression with a sudden flash that illuminated my face, hands slightly raised towards my face. It was the photo Franco had taken of me. The problem, however, was what was behind me. The stairs are in front of the door, and right at the top, facing in the same direction, is the door to my room. And in this image, unlike how I remembered leaving it in the morning, it was open. But that wasn't the worst part, no. In the gap formed between the wood and the wall, I could clearly see something. A face. Twisted and poorly formed, but still a face. It was like the mold stains seemed to be made of the same substance, bug-eyed and reddened eyes just above a crooked and pus-filled mouth. I had been staring at the photo when I heard strange noises upstairs. Footsteps? Suddenly, the creaking of the bedroom door. I really don't know what this is. I ran and locked myself in the bathroom. I've heard some strange noises echoing through the house. They come and disappear, come back with no apparent time pattern. It's been more than 2 hours, and Franco hasn't returned. And he doesn't answer my calls or messages. I don't know what these photos are, but there's definitely something very wrong with them. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this narration. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my patrons who are subscribed over at my Patreon. We have a great big thank you from me to you, Alonzo, Kozak, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Andreas Anderson London, and Geek Sanctuary. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. If you would like to support too, just check out the links in my description. And thank you again for listening. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.